You'd think after thousands of years, humans would have learned. But somehow, they keep falling into the same traps: wars, greed, betrayal, and blind ambition. Why? Why does humanity keep pressing the same self-destruct button again and again? In this video, we'll explore the strange truth behind history's endless repetition. From empires collapsing to financial crises reappearing in new disguises. We'll look at what's happening inside the human brain and why, despite all our progress, we still act like we've learned nothing. Stay till the end, because understanding why we repeat our mistakes might be the first step to finally breaking the cycle. I'm the Genius Donkey, and today, I'm here to expose the pattern humans never seem to escape: the illusion of progress. Humans love to believe they're advancing, smarter, more evolved, more civilized. But history whispers another story: the same themes, the same errors, just with shinier technology. Ancient Rome fell under the weight of corruption and inequality. Centuries later, powerful nations faced the same fate: arrogance, overreach, and moral decay. Different uniforms, same downfall. The irony? Each civilization thought it was unique, chosen, exceptional, and every single one ignored the warning signs that had destroyed those before it. Why? Because the human brain wasn't built to learn from the abstract. It was built to survive the immediate. Your ancestors didn't evolve to analyze empires. They evolved to dodge predators, chase food, and trust familiarity. So when patterns repeat across generations, most people don't recognize them. They only see now. The brain's trap: why the mind loves repetition. Let's dive inside that wrinkled piece of meat you call a brain. Neuroscientists say your brain builds neural pathways every time you make a decision. The more you repeat an action, the stronger the pathway becomes. It's like carving a path through the forest. Every time you walk it, it gets easier to travel again. So when a person, or a civilization, repeats a mistake, it's often because their brain finds comfort in what's familiar, even if it's destructive. It's called familiarity bias, the illusion that what feels known is safe. That's why people return to toxic relationships, why leaders use the same failed political strategies, and why societies rebuild the same systems that caused their collapse. Your brain prefers the devil it knows over the unknown that might demand effort, humility, or change. And then there's confirmation bias, the trickiest of all mental traps. Humans seek evidence that confirms their beliefs and ignore anything that challenges them. It's like living in a mental echo chamber, surrounded by voices that agree, and blind to the warnings that scream otherwise. So even when history leaves a clear message carved in stone, people will look right past it and convince themselves, this time, it'll be different. Spoiler, it never is. The psychology of repetition: why pain becomes a habit. In psychology, there's something called repetition compulsion. It means people subconsciously repeat painful situations from their past, as if trying to fix them, but only end up reliving them. Nations do the same thing. A country might fall into dictatorship, swear never again, then slowly trade freedom for comfort, until they find themselves right back where they started. It's the same emotional mechanism that keeps individuals stuck in cycles: an abusive partner, a destructive habit, a failed system. It's not stupidity. It's a deep emotional loop that whispers, maybe this time, it'll finally end differently. But it rarely does, because unless the core belief changes, the pattern will simply find a new disguise. History's broken record. Let's zoom out and look at the big picture: history itself. Patterns of rise and fall repeat like seasons. Empires bloom from hunger and unity, then rot from greed and division. Rome, the Abbasids, the Mongols, the Ottomans. Every great power starts humble, visionary, hungry. Then it grows rich, comfortable, arrogant. Then it collapses, often from within. The philosopher Ibn Khaldun called it this cycle of civilization. Each generation softens more than the last, until strength turns to weakness, and the empire becomes prey to new conquerors. And the tragic part? The new conquerors rarely learn from the fallen ones. They just repeat the same steps, with new flags and slogans. The economic loop. Take economics. It's like watching the same movie with different actors. The Great Depression of 1929, the housing crisis of 2008, the same greed, the same denial, the same overconfidence. Economist Hyman Minsky warned about this decades ago. Stability breeds instability. When people feel safe, they take risks. When everyone takes risks, the system breaks. And then the panic begins, followed by vows that this will never happen again. Until it does. Humans remember pain, but they also forget fast when profit whispers louder than caution. It's not lack of intelligence, it's lack of emotional memory. The political mirage. Politics, too, is a stage where the same play repeats endlessly. Leaders rise promising change, only to repeat the vanity of power. Revolutions promise justice, then become the tyranny they overthrew. Each era believes it's different this time. But power, unchecked, always finds the same corrupt shape. It's not that humans don't see it, they just hope it won't happen to them. Why humans don't learn from history. So here's the paradox. Humans know history, but they don't feel it. You can read about wars, but you don't feel the hunger of a soldier in the mud. You can study revolutions, but not the despair that sparked them. So when similar choices appear again, the emotional connection is gone. It's like touching fire once, getting burned, then forgetting the pain years later. You remember the story, but not the sensation. That's why societies repeat mistakes. They remember the facts, but forget the feeling. And lessons without feeling never last. The modern twist, technology doesn't save us. Humans often think technology will protect them from their flaws. We have AI now. We won't make the same mistakes. Yet here we are, using new tools to amplify the same old problems. Greed, ego, misinformation, division. The tools change. The mind does not. And until the mind evolves, history will keep recycling itself like an infinite loop. Technology doesn't make humans wiser. It just gives their impulses faster weapons. So here's the challenge. If humans are wired to repeat mistakes, if biology, psychology, and society all push them in circles, is there any way to break free? Can a species truly learn, or are we doomed to walk in circles forever? To break the cycle, we must understand where it begins. The root of repeated mistakes isn't ignorance, it's arrogance. Humans think they're too smart to fail in the same way others did. That overconfidence blinds them more than any lack of knowledge ever could. The real solution begins with humility, acknowledging that intelligence doesn't equal wisdom. Wisdom is intelligence plus memory, multiplied by humility. And history shows, humility is the rarest resource of all. But there's hope. Humans can learn, if they want to. Because awareness itself is the first form of evolution. When people question their own certainty, they open a doorway to growth. When societies challenge their comfort, they spark renewal. And when individuals dare to admit, yes, I've made this mistake before, that's when the pattern starts to fade. Imagine this, a future generation studying our time, our wars, our environmental crises, our technological obsessions, and saying, they were the first to finally stop repeating. Not because they became perfect, but because they became aware. The moment humanity realizes that progress isn't about avoiding mistakes, but learning differently from them, that's the moment the loop breaks. That's when history stops being a mirror and becomes a map. Humans don't repeat mistakes because they're stupid. They repeat them because they're emotional, short-sighted, and easily comforted by the familiar. Their brains cling to patterns. Their hearts cling to hope. And between the two, logic is often the casualty. But understanding this pattern gives power. Because when you can see the loop, you can choose to step out of it. As the genius donkey, I've watched humans trip over the same stone for centuries. Maybe it's time someone finally learns to walk around it. If you enjoyed this reflection from a talking donkey, watch the next video, where I'll reveal why power always corrupts the smartest minds.